In a shocking turn of events, Jack Mitchell is going to the Dallas Mavericks. What a time to be alive.
Stunner.
It turns out that Shams did get hacked. The real trade that we are breaking live is Luka Doncic from the Mavs to the Lakers in exchange for just Jack. Anthony Davis is still a Laker.
In 2K, I'm being moved from the Lakers to the Mavericks for Luka. I'm angry whenever this sort of thing happens in real life. I look at my team in 2K and I'm like, oh, well, that's very outdated. I don't want to play against Luka anymore. Yeah, wild stuff to say the least.
All right, where were you when Luka made his way?
I was sitting right here.
Same. I was like, about a foot further down on my bed, actually.
Yeah, I was playing WWE 2K because the Royal Rumble just ended. So I was kind of like on an emotional high from that. That was a fun show. Nice. And then I'm like, all right, I could just relax for the rest of the night. The Kings won, the Lakers won. So, I was having a good night. And then I think it was, who was it? I think it was George that sent the message to the U Stadium chat. He was like, big NBA trade. And it was in all lowercase. So I was like, all right. I guess it wasn't really, it might not be too big. It's just like some.
Yeah, it could have been just like an all-star.
It could have been like the De'Aaron Fox trade or something like that. And then I was like, all right, well, I follow Shams on Twitter, so I might as well just check my Twitter feed, refresh it, see what's going on. And then I audibly shout, what the F? I'm not going to swear, but like, I was stunned. Like, are you kidding me?
This is not hyperbole when I say this. This is the most shocking NBA trade in NBA history. NBA trade in NBA history. Good job, Ryan. This is the first time in the history of the sport that two reigning All-NBA players have been traded for each other mid-season. So in terms of just star power, this is a historic trade.
Yeah.
And when you factor in Luka Doncic, I'm going to pull up a list for you, Jack. I'll phrase it as a trivia question for the moment. I would like you to name the active players with 5 career All-NBA teams, or 5 career first-team All-NBAs.
The active players with 5. Well, I'm pretty sure one's LeBron.
Yes. Where is? I'm trying to find. Here it is. Okay. Name active players that have 5 or more All-NBA first teams. LeBron has 13 of them.
Luka is one of them, I'm guessing.
Luka has 5.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis has 4.
I can't think of the other ones at the top of my head. One of them might be Curry.
Curry, I believe, has 4. Yeah, he has 4. 4 firsts and 4 seconds and 2/3.
I have no idea. There's probably like a big name player that I'm like, it's off to my tongue and I can't remember.
Kevin Durant, Giannis, and James Harden.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, in the history of the sport, there have been 28 players who have made All-NBA first team 5 times. Just 28. Luka is one of them. Luka Doncic turns 26 in a couple weeks. He turns 26 the last day in February. He is already a 5-time All-NBA player. He won't do it. He won't be on the team this year because he's missed too much time. But you are trading for one of the 50 greatest players in the history of the sport, who has solidified himself as one of the 50 greatest players in the history of the sport before turning 26.
And what did they give up? Let me pull up the full deal really quick, because what they gave up for this is absurd. Like, I think it was only like 1 first-round pick.
Yeah, 1 first-round pick. Dallas sent a second, by the way, and Anthony Davis. And you gave up not Maxi Kleber. He is going to the Lakers. I'm blanking on his name.
blanking
on his name. Where is the transaction here? Okay. As part of a 3-team trade, Luka was traded by the Dallas Mavericks with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris to the Lakers. The Lakers traded Max Christie, Anthony Davis, a 2029 first-round pick, to the Mavs. The Lakers traded Jalen Hood-Schifino and a 2025 second-round pick to the Jazz. The Jazz traded Cash and a 2025 second-round pick to the Mavs. And the Jazz traded Cash to the Lakers. Los Angeles also received a trade exception second-round pick. And Dallas...
Mike is doing the funny thing again.
Dallas received multiple trade exceptions.
There you go. Yeah. This is, like, to give you an idea of how insane this is, 2K will deny this trade if you try it in the game.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. Like, I still haven't fully processed it.
This is
Luka Doncic.
Unfathomable. How do you trade Luka? How did you... I think, okay, Ryan Russillo, I believe, said it best. He said he wouldn't trade Luka even if Luka was ripping cigarettes walking down the court. If Luka showed up to camp 300 pounds, you don't trade Luka. You figure it out. And also, Luka left, or I'm not saying Luka left. This costs Luka tens of millions of dollars. He's already a millionaire, so we can cry poor for millionaires, but he is no longer eligible to sign the Supermax, which would have been for him 5 years, $345 million. That's a whopping $69 million a year.
Nice.
Very nice. And that's out the window because LeBron, I believe, is the Lakers Supermax player. So sorry, Luka. No, it's because he got traded. It doesn't matter LeBron's status, but a shocking trade. This is on par with Gretzky to the Kings.
Yeah, it is. That's the like, I think the most recent thing, not trying to sound biased here, but like I feel like I haven't seen a bigger trade in any sport since like freaking Stafford to the Rams. Like, it's, and I'm not even saying that's on the same scale. I'm just saying, like, I don't think there's been a trade that league altering.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I don't think in terms of like sports as a whole, I don't think there's been like a world altering trade since Gretzky to the Kings.
Yeah, I think this is on par with Gretzky to the Kings, and a couple differences. Gretzky was a little older. He had obviously won a bunch of hearts and had won several cups with Edmonton, so more accomplished. But Luka just went to the finals. It's not like he's done nothing. And for his age, like I said, he's one of the 28 players ever with 5 All-NBA first teams. And that list is Luka, Jason Kidd, Dwight Howard, George Gervin, Rick Barry, Barkley, Irving, Mikan, Harden, Giannis, Durant, Shays, Olajuwon, Chamberlain, Shaq, Magic, Bird, Oscar, Baylor, Pettit, MJ, West, Kuzi, Duncan, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe, LeBron. There's like, if Luka retired tomorrow, he is a top 50 player in the history of the sport. He's played this is his 7th season, and he has more All-NBA first teams than Dirk, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, KG, Moses Malone, Jokic, Bill Russell, Steve Nash won 2 MVPs, AI, Scottie Pippen. Like, it's really difficult to be an All-NBA first teamer. Gary Payton made 2. Dwayne Wade, another LeBron teammate, made 2. Trace McGrady, 2. Bernard King, 2. Pete Maravich, 2. David Thompson, 2. Patrick Ewing, 1. Like, Clyde Drexler, 1. He's in the Hall of Fame. Grant Hill, Hall of Famer, 1. Willis Reed, Hall of Famer, 1. Chris Webber, Hall of Famer, 1. It's just preposterous how you can trade a player of Luka's caliber. And funnily enough, I think Dallas got a reasonable deal. And shout out to Dan in the chat with chaos. Absolute chaos. Chaos reigns supreme. I think this is the best. This is going to sound sacrilegious, I'm aware. I think this is the best trade Dallas could have made for the exact purpose they wanted. Which sounds weird, and I know they only consulted the Lakers. I think they called one other team, maybe Milwaukee. But it appears they only called the Lakers. They asked for Anthony Davis. They got Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, to his credit, is one of the 10 best players in the world. Luka's top 3 or top 4 with Jokic and Giannis and SGA right now. He's in that group. And then Anthony Davis is more like 8 to 10. He's in the group with Tatum and Donovan Mitchell maybe is in that group, or a little bit lower. Kevin Durant, LeBron probably is still in that group. Brunson. But regardless, Anthony Davis is one of the 10 best players in the world. So from a Mavs standpoint, there is no team that you can get an Anthony Davis or Anthony Davis equivalent or better than Anthony Davis that makes any sort of sense. The only players that they would have wanted that fit what they tried to get in Anthony Davis was Giannis, which would have cost even more, and that's really it. Anyone below Anthony Davis, say Bam, or if you wanted a Mobley, or if you wanted like a defensive first guy, right? If you like, that was your goal. Your goal was to get a two-way superstar. Anthony Davis is your best bet. Besides Giannis, and Milwaukee's not going to trade Giannis, and Victor Wembanyama, and even more than Luka, Victor Wembanyama is totally and entirely untouchable. You probably have a better chance trading for Jokic than you would Victor Wembanyama, especially with how the Spurs have just went out and acquired De'Aaron Fox. And boy, oh boy, they're going to be really good here soon.
Yeah, that's a scary trade, honestly. Spurs are loading up now. Yeah, I mean, I sort of choose, because I'm a Lakers fan, I sort of choose to look on this from the Lakers perspective. And the phrase that I was using, because it's potential short-term pain for long-term gain. Because the defense obviously now needs like serious help, because Anthony Davis was pressuring the front office to trade for a big before this happened, and they still need a big. They still need a center. So defense
really bad.
is like, and they incredibly enough, they still have a first-round pick to work with if they want to try and trade for a center.
All right, and they have what's his name, Reeves.
Austin Reeves.
Yeah,
I don't think Austin Reeves is going anywhere.
That could be so. Like, there's pros and cons to trading Reeves, because he is your best like ball handler, ball guy, like offensive creator behind LeBron and Luka, obviously. So would be the anchor in your second unit, you know, when you want to give LeBron a rest because he's 40 freaking years old. And when Luka has one of his, I'm not going to play today because I am Luka Doncic, whatever. Then
but
Reeves can, I hope not, but Reeves can like run the offense. So there's pros and cons to keeping Reeves, but Reeves, Luka, LeBron aren't exactly great defenders nowadays. So your closing, like your last 5 minutes of the game lineup, like 3 minutes to go against the Clippers, you're down 2. What lineup is on the floor for you? Well, LeBron can't defend anyone. Luka can't defend anyone. Reeves can't defend anyone. So if you're the Clippers, you can just send whoever you want, whatever matchup you want, at LeBron, at Luka.
Funny, because the last time the Lakers
Reeves
played the Clippers, they forgot how to defend.
Good point, but I'm just saying that this is not exactly a great defensive team.
No, it's not. And it's something that's going to need to be worked on for sure over the course of whether it's this trade deadline or next offseason. The thing is, though, all you have to do is get a long-term extension done with Luka, and you're set. Because it's going to be a free agent destination, too. Yes. There are going to be people who will see this and be like, well, who the hell wouldn't want to play for the Lakers, who have a bunch of fans, one of the most passionate fan bases, not just in the league, but in sports. And then you got a freaking superstar in Luka Doncic to be
Hey, and you can play with LeBron the next year or two.
Yeah, the next year or two, you get to play with LeBron James. It's for the long term is what this trade is. Whether or not they do anything this year, I don't know. It's up in the air. It depends on what they do with the trade deadline going forward. But
for the buyout market,
yeah, that too. But I mean, this is just like, it's Luka Doncic is the new face of the franchise for this team, and I love it. It's obviously bittersweet to lose Anthony Davis. His contribution to the team is insane. He won a title here. You're never going to forget that. You're never going to forget all the hard work he put in, no matter what was going on with this team. He was always putting in hard work for the team.
Absolutely.
So you respect that. But you got to realize, like, what this team just did to throw themselves right back in the spotlight and to be contenders now for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's insane. I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped to watch Luka play for the Lakers.
Jack, I gave you the list of players with 5 All-NBA first teams. 12 of 28 have now played for the Lakers.
Ridiculous.
Like, that is like bananas. And if you like, of course, a couple of guys are going to reach this in the coming years. Like Jokic is going to get his 5th this year, so that'll throw off the numbers a little bit. But I mean, Anthony Davis made it 4 times. A couple of these older players, I believe, played for the Lakers. So Steve Nash has 3. He played for the Lakers. This is just an outrageous trade, and this is a win now move for Dallas. Strangely enough,
yeah, it is.
I guess. And then the Lakers are like, okay, we can win now because we have a top 10 offensive player in the history of the NBA. I don't know how far-fetched that is to say in Luka. And of course you have LeBron freaking James, who dropped a 30-point triple-double at the Garden 2 nights ago, which that
the night of the trade. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like, okay, LeBron just has a vintage LeBron at the Garden game, like 30, 12, and 12, whatever, just casual. First guy since Oscar Robertson to do that in the Garden, by the way. And then you go get Luka Doncic. Why not? I think this is the first time we can unequivocally say LeBron is not the best player on his own team.
No, yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Outside of the 2011 finals. That's about it. This is unreal.
This is ridiculous.
It was so unreal that Shams had to tweet, "I was not hacked."
Yeah, that's the thing too, is like I thought it, you thought, I don't know if you thought it, but like other people like in the stadium thought it.
Mm-hmm.
Other people on Twitter, all over the place, thought it. Everybody was freaking out. Like, I've never seen a trade like in recent memory where the guy who broke it had to like beg with people to say that he wasn't hacked, that this was legit, this was real.
Yeah, this is. I can't even stress like the amount, how ridiculous this trade is, how shocking it is, and. This doesn't happen. Like, you don't trade your superstar when they're 20, not even 26 years old. And this isn't like a future superstar. Like, people jumped to the Paul George for SGA trade, and it was Paul George for SGA and like 8 first-round picks. Well, that's fine. That's all well and good. But SGA wasn't SGA at the time. Like, we know what Luka is. If Luka retired now, he is a Hall of Famer now. He has not celebrated his 26th birthday. And this isn't even like he does well for Slovenia. No, this is if it was just the NBA Hall of Fame, he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best 50 NBA players in the history of the sport. This is just preposterous.
I just saw on Twitter a tweet from Legion Hoops. I don't know how legit they are, but it says that apparently now LeBron could sign an extension with the Lakers this offseason.
Yeah, they're pretty legit.
God. LeBron wants to stay with the Lakers longer now that Luka's his teammate.
Yeah,
and AD was his boy too, so that was a little.
Yeah, they're both same agency. So I kind of like it. Okay, if you're Dallas and you were forced to trade Luka, if your homework assignment was you trade Luka Doncic, but you can still win the title this year, that's your homework assignment. I think that's about as well as they could do. I know people were mad that they didn't call their teams and, why don't you take Bam Adebayo and 17 first-round picks? Because it's Anthony Davis, man. Like, don't disrespect don't disrespect AD.
Don't diss AD. And AD still got it. He was like carrying us on defense for the last few years.
So hear me out. I'm going to walk us through a realistic NBA scenario that happens this season. Number 1 seed, Oklahoma City. Great. They're already the number 1 seed. Number 2 seed, Memphis. All right, great. Number 3 seed, Houston. All right, great. Number 4 seed, Lakers. They are a game back. All right, great. Number 5 seed, the Dallas Mavericks. They are 4.5 games behind Denver. Denver's the 4 seed. Imagine Lakers Mavericks round 1.
spicy.
I'm not saying this is like going to happen or anything. The playoff probabilities give it a let's see. That exact matchup, the Lakers have a 12% chance to get the 5 seed, a 5% chance to get this is like a 5% chance of happening. But if it did happen, or if they matched up in any round of the playoffs, that would be preposterous.
That might break viewership records.
That genuinely might.
The Lakers have a game too coming up soon against the Mavericks.
Mm-hmm. The 25th.
And that's appointment television.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, before you turn that one on, you can watch Cavs Magic on TNT. So best team of the East, actually best team in basketball right now, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cavs are kind of nuts this year.
Yeah.
Should we bring up the blowout they had over the Mavericks the day after the trade?
They had 50 points in the first quarter.
The first quarter, 50 points. I can't even do that in 2K.
like you have to
have like full quarter length.
Yeah, you have to like full 12-minute quarters, and you have to hit like 8 threes minimum.
Yeah. And you have to play like a super low difficulty too, I guess.
Yeah, you have to like hit every shot, really basically.
Yeah,
just
every shot's gonna go
over 4 points a minute.
3. You gotta have perfect steals without getting called for reach-ins.
Uh-huh.
That's my biggest problem. I'm the only one on the team that actually like tries in like my career. I'm the only one that tries to steal the ball, and I always get called for reaching it.
Yeah. Oh, I 2K. I have a love-hate relationship with NBA 2K.
I do too, but I have fun with it. So
man, but yeah, this is. The peak one would probably be if they were like the 7 and the 8 seed or played in the play-in, but so it's like a winner take all game. But if they were a 4-5 matchup or the 3-6 matchup, I don't know how likely the 3-6 matchup is because Memphis has kind of opened up something of a cushion over both the Lakers and the Mavs. The Mavs are currently the 9 seeds. That throws a little bit of a wrench into it, and AD is currently hurt. But the Mavs have played better of late. The Lakers have played better of late. So I wouldn't count it out that this could be a 4-5 matchup. So that would be that would be awesome. I want to see that as a playoff series.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be 7 games.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Speaking of playoff series, today's a big prediction show.
It is.
We're going to start with some NBA predictions. Jack, I want you to tell me when the Lakers season ends. How far do they advance in the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, where does it end?
I'm going to say they get back to the conference final.
Okay.
If they get there, I'm going to say conference final.
All right. Conference final loss?
Yes.
All right. I want to agree with you.
I think it really is like dependent on what they do with the deadline too. Because this offense, explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Luka Doncic. I almost said Anthony Davis. This is how crazy this is.
That would be an insane team.
Yeah. That offense is fine. It's the defense that they have to shore up now. They have to figure that out for the rest of until there's the buyouts, like you said, the trade deadline, all that stuff they got to sort out. But if they can do that, they can get a new big. Who knows?
Yeah, this is. It also depends on the matchup. If you play Denver, right? So right now they're slated to play Denver in the 4-5 matchup. Denver beats them, I think. I'm confident in Denver beating them. I think Jokic probably drops like a 50-point triple-double every game. Unironically, actually, because I don't know who the Lakers have rebounding or defending Jokic. But if they play Houston, I think they could beat Houston. If they play Memphis, I think they can beat Memphis. And if you get above the 4 seed, Clippers Lakers would be a great series. I think they can beat the Timberwolves. I think they can beat the Suns.
Have the Clippers and Lakers ever had a matchup in the playoffs before?
I do not believe so. Because the Clippers famously blew a 3-1 series lead.
Yeah, they did.
To Denver.
That was funny. That was the bubble year. That was the general consensus, I think, among both Lakers fans and I guess like the community too, is that they were so focused on the Lakers that they forgot that they had a series actively going against the Nuggets, that they still had to win a game in, and they couldn't do it.
That'll do it. That'll absolutely do it. So, the Lakers are matchup dependent. I'm gonna say a second round loss. I think a Western Conference semifinal loss.
They have not met in the playoffs. I just Googled it.
Yeah. So this is contingent on them not getting like a big piece, right? This is like Bam Adebayo, or I don't even know who's available. I don't know who the Heat would be trading. But this is contingent. Like if they got Nick Claxton from Brooklyn, I think that's a fine trade. They might win. But they are matchup dependent. I think they can beat Oklahoma City with or without a big. Oklahoma City has a lot of the same issues because Chet is hurt. And you're just going to be so great offensively, and both LeBron and Luka are great playoff performers for whatever that's not worth. So I have them losing second round, matchup dependent. But if they are the 4-5, unless they're playing Denver, I like their chances to make the Western Conference Finals. All right, let's flip over to the Mavs.
I will say, by the way, I think the Lakers do win a title within the next 10 years. If they get a Luka deal done, they win a title in the next 10 years.
Sure. All right, Luka. It's not on the Mavs anymore. Anthony Davis is on the Mavs. Jack, tell me where the Mavs season ends.
I think the Mavs season ends in the play-in.
Okay.
I think there's a chance maybe they could be a first round exit, but I think that they at the very least get to the play-in. I'm not going to write off Anthony Davis, obviously, because I've just been supporting him for the last few years. And I say few years, it was like 2019, 2020 was when he got traded.
Yeah, 2019 off season.
Yeah, so
heading into the 2020 season.
Almost 5 years, basically.
Yeah.
They could still do some damage, but they really have to win. Like they have to figure it out and win games.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Obviously, their performance offensively is going to take a huge dip after you got rid of Luka Doncic. So
yeah, that'll happen.
I expect them to take a pretty big hit in the standings going forward.
So they're the 9 seed right now. Keep in mind, Luka did miss over half of the games, so they've figured it out without Luka. You have Anthony Davis. I think one of their centers is coming back here soon. That's a big Anthony Davis thing. He doesn't want to play center. He wants to play the power forward position. Fair enough. I think the Mavs make the playoffs and they lose in the quarterfinals. However, if they play Oklahoma City, they kind of own Oklahoma City. Even this year without Luka, they beat them 3 times without Luka. If they play in the 1-8 matchup against Oklahoma City, they might win that one. Otherwise, I would take other teams over Dallas. Although I said the same thing with the Lakers, that you have 2 great playoff performers in Kyrie and Anthony Davis, and that might trump a young Houston team. That might trump a young Memphis team. So depending on the matchup, I might pick them. They might be favored, but they've just kind of dug a hole for themselves early on.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing about the playoffs, is that like in really any sport, but especially basketball, like if you get one guy like just gets hot at the right time, it can carry you. I think that was Austin Reeves for the Lakers a few years ago when they made the conference final. Austin Reeves against the Grizzlies was just on another level. He exploded in the first few games, and that's kind of like all the Lakers needed. Yeah, and they swept the Golden State Warriors in the next round. So
yeah, it's just a matter of making your shots, getting hot at the right time, and I think both the Mavs and the Lakers have the upside to win a championship this year. And I don't think that was true for the Lakers. It's tough to exclude them when they had LeBron and AD. Like, you have 2 top 10 players in the league. It's tough to like just say no.
Write them off. At least.
And they were figuring it out.
I can understand where your perspective is. Like back before this trade, it was like maybe they're a first round out, maybe they're a play-in team.
Yeah, that could be like a matchup dependent, you know.
Yeah.
But
now it's like you really can't write them off. Like that's why I have them going all the way to the conference final at the very least, because like who the hell knows? Like like you got Luka Doncic.
Anything happened. Hey, Luka played in the finals last year, man. So
I think as early as the 8th is when they said he could make his debut.
Okay.
So we'll see. I think he's going to miss the Clippers game on Tuesday, but
unfortunately.
That'd be cool if he did play, but I think he still
so
has like a little bit of rehab left with his injuries. We'll see.
Just a truly shocking trade.
I have never stopped what I was doing to focus on like a trade in sports for as long as I have for that one in a long time. Stafford was probably the last one.
Yeah, and I think for like a casual NBA fan like myself, obviously I'm a big Luka fan, but like the De'Aaron Fox trade, okay, cool. I like De'Aaron Fox. I'm glad to see Wemby. The Spurs are building around Wemby. They have a loaded like 4 with actually really 5 with Sohan. So it's Fox, Stephon Castle, go Huskies, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, and Victor Wembanyama. That in like a year or two, when Wembanyama is like legitimate top 5 player in the sport, that's going to be really scary. And I'm excited to see that moving forward. I'm gonna, I think, tune into some more NBA games because Wembanyama is just unbelievable.
Yeah,
it is like he is everything you could possibly ask
for. Every time I watch him play, I'm always baffled at how tall he is. Like that's not natural.
Did you see the clip from the Pacers game in Paris? He blocked the shot on 4 straight possessions. And it's not like he's just blocked the shot, Spurs do whatever on offense, block another shot, Spurs. He's the one. He had a dunk in there. He threw an alley-oop in there. He's making play. He is just a transcendent. He is without equal. Like I've talked, Luka is one of the 10 greatest offensive players we've ever seen. Victor Wembanyama, it feels like it'd be a disappointment if he's not on an NBA Mount Rushmore by the end of his career.
Yeah.
Like he can do everything on a basketball court. Truly everything. So I wish him nothing but success. I hope he has a dynasty. I hope he wins 7 championships. I hope we're having MJ versus LeBron versus Wemby conversations one day. Like in episode 1006 of the Sports Desk. I hope it's Wembanyama's Hall of Fame speech. I how long would that be? 1,000? Well, he did take a hiatus in there, but 52 episodes a year, that'd be like 19 more years.
Oh God, I don't want to think about it that far.
And by the way, Juan Soto would still be under contract.
Juan Soto would still be under contract. I don't think
the Dodgers would still be paying Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, we'd still be paying him. I don't know if he'd be under contract, but we'd be paying him.
Yeah, $68 million a year.
Maybe he signs another one and keeps playing because that's Shohei Ohtani. He'll play until he's 50.
That's true. That's true. Wow. All right.
Insanity.
You know what else is insane, Jack?
That we're a week away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say that Lamar Jackson might win his 3rd MVP in a couple days.
That too.
Yeah. Wow.
It's kind of ridiculous how quickly the NFL season flies by. We're all like, I still remember we were doing the old school like week 1 predictions and everything like that, and the tier list and everything after week 1.
Who wins MVP or playoff predictions. Yeah, I said Josh Allen would win MVP. The Bills would go 9-8, but he would win MVP. I thought the Bears were going to make the playoffs. That didn't go well. Yeah.
I don't even remember what my predictions were, but I think
you had the Dolphins over the Bills.
I might have.
Or the Jets over the Bills.
It was. Yeah, I think it was the Jets. No. I definitely underestimated the Bills. Anyway, time for more predictions that probably won't age well. We're gonna do our NFL honors predictions and our Super Bowl predictions.
Yeah, I'll get us started. Most valuable player, it's Lamar Jackson. Statistically dominant, 41 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions, the 4th best passer rating in the history of the NFL. Ran for 800 yards, first player in NFL history with 4,000 passing, 800 rushing. 5,000 total yards of offense, if you exclude sack yardage. Just a magnificent season. And it's just a different season because I thought he deserved to be MVP last year. And people can point out that is inconsistent logic. that Lamar last year was not the most statistically dominant. He was just the quarterback on the best team. I will point out that in games that mattered, he was statistically dominant. The Ravens won a record number of games against teams with winning records, teams that made the playoffs, and Lamar was spectacular in those games. His bad games, quote unquote, bad games or unproductive games, pooled against like the Cardinals who missed the playoffs, the Chargers who missed the playoffs, the Titans who missed the playoffs. Like those were his quote unquote down games, but he was spectacular against the 49ers. He was like double spectacular against the Dolphins week 17. And he really carried that momentum to win the MVP nearly unanimously. And I think this year, start to finish, basically, he was unbelievable. He was flirting with a 120 rating, over 40 touchdowns, like I said, the highest touchdown interception ratio ever, with a certain number of touchdowns, or I think over 30 touchdowns. I think it's the highest to get over 10-1. And like Josh Allen, I think is a deserving second place. And Allen to me had a.
Allen was my MVP pick.
Okay. I'll talk. You can go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like with my perception, I think it's actually kind of perfect that we brought up like why I thought the Bills were gonna struggle this year is because of all the pieces they lost, and it just turned out like Josh Allen didn't care. And I think that I am always this complete stooge when it comes to MVPs. I always like go pretty strictly by the player most valuable to his team. If Josh Allen was not on the Bills, that's probably like that my like 9-8 prediction or whatever they have. That's probably more accurate. Josh Allen willed the Bills to the AFC title game this year. And he almost willed them to the win too, if it weren't for a dumb call on fourth down like we witnessed.
I still don't think he got it, but I get it.
I do. I think he got it. I think he got across. But yeah, no, Josh Allen, I feel like is the reason why the Bills got as far as they did this year. And everybody was predicting a fall off. Everybody was saying that Buffalo was going to struggle. They're missing Stephon Diggs. They're missing. I can't even remember all the names they lost, but there were some.
They lost both safeties, Diggs, Gabe Davis. Milano missed a chunk of the year. Teron Johnson missed a chunk of the year. So I understand that perspective, and I think that's a fine perspective to have. My issue, my hang up there is the Bills didn't play as if they lost pieces. Like their defense was very good. They were third in the NFL in turnovers. They had the highest percentage of opponent drives ending in a turnover, and they gave Josh Allen the best field position in the NFL. And I think that context is important here that, yes, the Bills lost pieces, and the Ravens also lost pieces that kind of gets shoved under the rug a little bit. But for the Bills pieces that they lost, they didn't suffer too much of a drop off. And I think when we contextualize it in that way, and you say, okay, they lose these pieces, no Stephon Diggs, and no, you lose your safeties. Okay, that's all well and good. But James Cook stepped up in a big way. Christian Benford was, to me, an all-pro level corner, like the fourth best cornerback in the NFL. And that was not something you're banking on to start the season. And the turnovers, they just forced tons and tons of turnovers. And I said in previous weeks, Josh Allen was the only Bill who lost a fumble this season. So when you couple that, Josh Allen's offensive teammates didn't let him down turnover-wise, and his defensive teammates were, I don't want to say bailing out because that's kind of a little over the top, but Josh Allen's defensive teammates were consistently putting him in the best position to succeed. That to me matters, right? And yes, the Bills lost pieces, and yes, we thought the Bills would be worse, but the Bills were not worse in a lot of ways. The defense played better than we thought they would, and I think that's not exactly fair to say, oh, Josh Allen led the Bills defense to play better. No, the Bills defense on its own accord played better. And to use like the Lamar side, and people would argue, oh, Lamar has like 10 Pro Bowlers and a bunch of All Pros. I mean, part of that is Patrick Ricard making it, and I'm sorry that All-Pro 1 Pro Bowl Patrick Ricard, I'm not taking him over Patrick Mahomes, right? Who did not make a Pro Bowl, did not make an All-Pro team this year. So understand that. And Roquan Smith to me was a name recognition All-Pro, a name recognition Pro Bowler. And the Bills had their own Pro Bowl level players that happened to not be selected this year. They ended up with 3 offensive Pro Bowlers. I think Cook made it. Cook, and they had 2 offensive linemen, the center and Deion Dawkins at left tackle. And of course, Allen made it, but he opted out. Lamar made it, but he opted out as well. But I don't know. It's close. I think Lamar should get the nod, though.
That's fair. I think either way is completely fair. Let's be honest. I'm not going to complain. Like, I'm going to be like, oh, they got it wrong if Lamar wins.
Right.
I'll do it if Mahomes wins, but...
I do think the worst argument is, oh, well, Lamar won it last year, so Allen should win it this year. I think
Mahomes isn't even a finalist.
Correct. It's Lamar, Allen, Burrow.
Why is Jared Goff a finalist?
Goff, that's right. Goff and Saquon.
Saquon I can understand.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
but
Goff is sort of the polar bear in Texas here.
Yeah, you could put, I'm just going to say it, I feel like you could put any QB in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. Dan, I'm not sure what the hell you mean by this. Can't bullshit his way to a Super Bowl if he's on the moon.
Good point.
Are we planning to do this Space Jam style where we put him in a rocket and send him to the moon?
Yeah, just yoink. Yeah, Jared Goff, I don't even know what the odds would be. Like plus $1 million. Like I can't see it. I understand it was 15-2. Just I don't know, man. All right, offensive player of the year. I'm gonna go first here because I think I am the. I think we're gonna differ. I have Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner, just a gigantic season. And why is it not Saquon? Well, Ryan, splash. Why is it not Saquon? I do not believe Saquon Barkley had the best running back season this year. I think he was the most valuable running back, and I think he deserves to be higher in MVP voting than Derrick Henry, but I think Derrick Henry had a better running back season. Yes, I know Saquon had more yards. Henry averaged like a tenth of a yard. Or Henry averaged more yards per carry. Henry had more yards after the contact. Henry did not play with 2 all-pro level offensive tackles. Like Saquon did. Like if you go back and look at my all-splash team, the gold team, Jordan Mailata, left tackle, Lane Johnson, right tackle. So I thought Derrick Henry was the better running back this season, marginally. These are 2 of the top, 5 or 6 running back seasons of my lifetime. You know, you have MVP Adrian Peterson, 2006 LaDainian Tomlinson, 2005 Sean Alexander. Like it's on that short list. 2020 Henry, of course. 2019 McCaffrey. Like it's a very short list of like best running back seasons of the last 20 years. I think both Henry and Saquon are on that list. Jamar Chase was unequivocally the best wide receiver in football this year. There's not a close second. As good as Justin Jefferson is, I don't think that was particularly close. Yes, Jamar Chase got to stat pad a little bit against the Ravens in his 2 games. He went for like 500 yards in 2 games and like 6 touchdowns, but he's just unbelievable. And he won the Triple Crown. And I think winning the receiver Triple Crown, barring like a ridiculous running back season, which fair enough, Saquon did have and Henry did have. I think winning the receiver Triple Crown, that should put you squarely an offensive player of the year player of the year front runner.
I watched it happen with Cooper Kupp.
Exactly.
And it's hard to argue against Triple Crown.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to Jamar Chase. If it was Saquon in the past, I don't know, but I think it's Jamar Chase.
Oh, you agree?
I agree with you, yeah.
Okay. To be clear, I think Saquon wins it. I would vote for Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that's fair.
And also, to be clear,
how I feel.
I've previously made the point that Cooper Kupp has the greatest season ever by an offensive skill position. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Saquon takes the mantle. I'm sorry, Jack. Like, just
I would hold off on that one because it is Saquon.
Okay, if
he may or may not win
MVP.
MVP.
If
Super Bowl MVP is.
If he wins Super Bowl MVP, he's probably going to finish 3rd in regular MVP. He's going to win the Offensive Player of the Year, rush for 2,000 yards, he's in all likelihood going to break Terrell Davis's record for total rushing yards in a season, like regular season plus playoffs.
I think it also depends on like what he does in the Super Bowl too, because the thing that Cooper Kupp has going for him is that he literally caught 2 touchdowns, including the game winner in the Super Bowl.
That's true.
So
that's fair. That's fair. So I don't want to put the cart in front of the chickens, or whatever put the
cart in front of the horse.
Yeah, whatever the fable is, right? But Saquon has the opportunity. Let me just put it that way. Saquon has the opportunity. Just like with Luka, he has the opportunity to go down as quite literally the GOAT. Saquon has the opportunity. This isn't like he's not behind the 8 ball. He has it. It's in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
It is in front of him. All right, Jack, who is your defensive player of the year?
This is a tough one. I'm a little split, but I'm probably thinking Myles Garrett is my pick.
Okay.
It feels like he just had another one of those insane seasons, and by the way, he requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I was about to.
Les Snead, please get on the phone. Yeah, I feel like I just look at all the other names though. Surtain is a good candidate for it. TJ Watt is TJ Watt. I mean, the Steelers essentially don't have a defense without him. Yeah, I feel like Myles Garrett among the finalists. Seeing the names, I'd probably take Myles Garrett.
Yeah, so the finalists: Zach Bond of the Eagles, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, Patrick Surtain, and TJ Watt. This to me is a really mediocre group.
It is.
Like, I know Hendrickson led the league in sacks. And Garrett and Watt. Surtain had a great year. Zach Bond had a great year. But this just feels like an underwhelming cast of characters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I thought it was like Garrett had a phenomenal year. Watt had a phenomenal year. I was on record saying I would have voted for Dexter Lawrence over both of them, and I would have voted for Antoine Winfield over both of them. And that was a really deep group to me. This year, I don't think it's quite as deep. I don't think Garrett had a great year in terms of being Myles Garrett. I don't think TJ had a great year for being TJ Watt. Hendrickson, great year for being Trey Hendrickson, but I don't think that's better than what Garrett and Watt have done the last few years. Patrick Surtain, a great season. It's really tough to be a corner and win the award. So by process of elimination here, Zach Bond is my defensive player of the year. I don't love that. I thought Fred Warner had a better season. It's just a bizarre. This is the year that I wish we could have like offensive player of the year gets 2 guys and there's no defensive player of the year, right? Jamar Chase, Saquon, Derrick Henry, I think they all deserve to win an award. And I don't think any defensive player deserves to win an award. As if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it kind of does make sense, but granted, I'm not sure the players really care either because they're all concerned about the Lombardi over anything else. So
yeah, of course. So if Zach Bond doesn't win DPOY, I don't think he cares because he has a Super Bowl coming up.
Yeah.
All right, offensive.
We'll see what the vibes are at the honors show too, because like when the Rams and Bengals played in theirs, something that I noticed. This probably has nothing to do with anything. It's just a funny observation that I had. The Rams players that won awards were actually there at that show. The Bengals were not. And they were in LA. They were preparing for the Super Bowl. But they were not at the show. They like had like video chats or something like that. But they were not like there was some kind of video feed, but they had like their own little viewing party or whatever. But they were absent and the Rams players were there, and that felt like a little bit of a flex, and the Rams went on the win. So
yeah.
Just an observation.
Yeah. All right, let's roll on over to offensive rookie of the year. Brock Bowers, Raiders tight end. Jaden Daniels, Commanders quarterback. Malik Neighbors, Giants wide receiver. Bo Nix, Broncos QB. And Brian Thomas Jr., Jags receiver. Who you got, Jack?
I got Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
Enough said. He changed the face of the Washington Commanders this year. Like, they are a legit. Yeah, I was scared to face them if we got them in the playoffs. Yeah, just what that kind of turnaround. Granted, the ownership turnover helps too, but that kind of turnaround in just 1 year to go from this stadium sucks, this team sucks, this QB sucks, like everything about this team is just mid or bad or whatever, and it's like we desperately need change. And you draft Jaden Daniels, and he turns you into a contender. He gets you to the NFC title game. The massive step in the right direction. It is huge for the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels is the catalyst.
I agree with everything you said, and I'm torn, honestly, though. Daniels had a phenomenal season, but Brock Bowers had a historically great tight end season.
He did too. It's a little tricky to pick between the two, but I feel like this is one of those like where it's a QB award. So
yeah, I'll go Jaden. I think Jaden wins it, to be clear. I think Brock Bowers gets a few more first place votes than you might imagine. So Bowers was so good, deserving All-Pro first team at tight end. 1,100 yards, and he's not playing with like Tom Brady at quarterback here. He's playing with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and they had a third quarter. Oh, Desmond Ridder. Like, be serious, man. They inexplicably, the Raiders had 2 1,000-yard receivers because Jacoby Myers had 1,000 yards. Who knew? But Daniels, just the poise, just the clutch factor. I can point out the game-winning drives and comebacks are fluky and whatever, but Jaden Daniels made it not fluky, right?
Yeah, it's
the Commanders went for it on 4th down 25 times, something like that this year. They made like 22 of them. They did not fail on 4th down until week 12, and that was not a lack of going for it. That was they were just converting every single time, and Jaden was unbelievable, deserving Pro Bowler, and I think a Pro Bowl quarterback season probably outweighs an All-Pro tight end season. So good job, Jaden.
Yeah, it's the thing is like I have heard people describe him as unflappable, and that's not my word. That's somebody other people's words. But like, yeah, it's like, yeah, they're right. Like Jaden Daniels is ridiculous. You saw all the mistakes he made in that Eagles game, and he still won them at the end.
All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year. You have a couple Rams here. We have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell of the Eagles, Braden Fisk and Jared Verse of the Rams, and Chop Robinson of the Dolphins. Who you got, Jack?
I got Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Straight up, Jared Verse dominated. He is like, imagine the Rams. Well, you don't have to imagine it because that's basically what happened. It's the Rams finding the perfect replacement for Aaron Donald the year after Aaron Donald retires. Like what Jared Verse did throughout the year, he was already insanely dominant to start things off. It was just a matter of he couldn't wrap up the guys he was trying to tackle, but he was getting to them in the backfield. He was getting pressures on the quarterback, which do matter. Pressures matter. But it was like there were so many times too where like if he could just figure out how to slow things down for a second, wrap up the guy he's tackling, he has a chance to be a force. And he did that as the year went along. And he hauled ass alongside Braden Fisk, alongside Kobe Turner, Byron Young. That front pass rush, those front four, scary for the Rams. That's why I want them to get Myles Garrett too. You put those guys with Myles Garrett, like
bro, any team would upgrade. That's like a massive upgrade for anyone.
It is, yeah.
Maybe we can do like a Myles Garrett like trade bonanza at some point. But yeah, I agree. This is another like weird group of rookies, a weird like group of players here, that I think if the Eagles players are healthy the full season, you might vote for them. And I will say that Verse doesn't have this overwhelming statistical case. Only 4.5 sacks, only 11 TFLs. He didn't have his last sack in the regular season came on November 11th. He did have a pass deflection and a fumble recovery, but statistically not this like great season, or statistically in terms of like sacks and TFLs, but he just every single snap it felt like he was all over the quarterback. Pro Football Reference has him with 33 pressures. I think he had an excellent season. I think he's a deserving Rookie of the Year finalist. I think he deserves to win Rookie of the Year.
I know that these awards are just for the regular season, but let's not also gloss over that he had a touchdown in the playoffs in the wild card round.
Yeah, he was excellent.
Yeah, he's that guy. I feel like he is like built to be like the next Aaron Donald for the Rams, because other players have said it about him too. The fact that like not only he talked his shit before the Eagles game, but then he backed it up, but then they still lost the game. But he was like totally respectful about it. He wasn't acting like a jerk. He wasn't acting salty. He shook people's hands. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think that's like perfect, because he doesn't hide from it when he loses. He just uses it as motivation to get better. He takes it as a learning experience, and he's just going to be even better next year. I can't wait to watch this guy. And by the way, I won't be upset if Brandon Fisk wins this award either.
Of course. All right, comeback player of the year. This is always a goofy one. They change the rules, what feels like every year. It's Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, Damar Hamlin. I have Joe Burrow. I thought he had the argument of being the best quarterback in the NFL this season. 40 touchdowns, led the NFL in touchdowns, led the NFL in passing yards. He missed half the season last year, so that qualifies him as the comeback player here. And I know the Bengals didn't make the playoffs, and that's not Burrow's fault, really. Although the Bengals were shockingly bad in like game-winning drive situations. Again, noisy, I get it, but Burrow to me is the comeback player of the year.
I understand that. If I were to choose, if I'm gonna tell you who I think is going to win first.
Okay.
Damar Hamlin died on the field, and he's back now.
Okay, yes, but he was second in voting last year. How many times can we do this comeback?
That's another thing too. It's like it's I don't know, but I feel like that might kind of take the cake a little bit in terms of like the people who are actually voting for the award. Who I think should win, I'm gonna give it to Sam Darnold.
Okay.
I was out on the Vikings after JJ McCarthy got hurt.
I was too. I had them at 5 wins.
I had them at 3. I did not realize that they were going to win 14. They only lost to 2 teams. It's really weird to think about too. The Vikings only lost to the Lions twice and the Rams twice.
Yeah, that's on
one of them being in the playoffs.
That's on par with the 99 Jags, who went 15-3. Their only losses were to the Titans, and the Titans.
Yeah, just weird stuff. But bottom line is that I think the Vikings overperformed this year, and I think Sam Darnold is the reason why. Like it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't like, okay, we just like put any QB in here and like they would haul ass. But it's no, Sam Darnold was kicking ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what the Vikings do at QB, because obviously you don't want to get rid of JJ McCarthy. You want him to be your guy, but at the same time, I wouldn't be so quick to throw Sam Darnold away either. Like it's so tough. I don't know what you do here to the Vikings.
As much as it pains me to say this, I think you move on and you go to JJ McCarthy. I
think that's fair.
Yeah, although, hey, in fairness, you have seen JJ McCarthy. The Vikings know JJ McCarthy better than any other team. So if they think that McCarthy is the option, they can go McCarthy. If they think Darnold's a better option, they can go Darnold. So they know more information than we do. But just from what I saw, when the chips were down, when the games mattered, when the 1 seed was on the line, Darnold pooped his
saw ghosts.
Yeah, and then playoffs. Yeah, you're on the road. You're in a hostile environment. Shout out to the Cardinals facility. And he took like 10 sacks.
9 sacks.
Yeah, 9 sacks. But you just can't do that. You physically can't do that. You can't, like...
He's lucky that this is a regular season award.
Yeah, you cost your team, like, severely there. And
yeah. No, that's completely fair. Again, that's why I say it's like he's lucky it's a regular season award, but I feel like at the same time, like, they're in that position to maybe get the 1 seed with him because of him. But I think it is fair, like in the terms of like whether or not you move on from him. Yeah, you probably want to see what JJ McCarthy can do.
And it's just a bad situation. Well, in some ways, a good situation to be in because you have 2 options at quarterback. But in a lot of ways, it's like a pretty cruddy situation because you got to decide: do you want the sure thing sort of in Darnold, or do you want the potential? Right. So you can. Like the classic meme is like you can have the object or you can have the box, which might be the object, right? I think that's a Family Guy joke. Like you can have the boat or you can have a box, and the box might be a boat, so you don't know. The Bucs, JJ McCarthy might be as good as Sam Darnold one day, or might not be, or he could be better. Who knows? Coach of the year. This is the. I'm going to go off the board here. I'm going to go Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Just the uncanny ability for the Chiefs to win one possession games. I understand they won another one possession game against Buffalo in the playoffs. That obviously doesn't factor in here. They were undefeated in one score games this season. They were just so well coached. Every aspect, special teams, great. Defense, great. Offense, great. Every aspect of the team fired on cylinders when it mattered. Now, I can point out the team ended up being like 15th in scoring. They did have a goose egg without Mahomes, so that throws off. They're like probably 12th in scoring without that game. But it's just such a well-coached team. They checked every box for me. They were 15-1. And Andy Reid's a big reason why. When every time I mentioned it, you have the 5 pillars. You have Mahomes, you have offensive star next to him in Kelsey, you have the defensive star in Chris Jones, you have the defensive coordinator in Spagnuolo, and you have the offensive guy in Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a huge chunk of that. He's a big reason why they have so much continuity. And he is my coach of the year.
Yeah, I agree. Andy Reid is the reason why the Chiefs, in the words of Pat McAfee, the Chiefs is still the Chiefs.
Yeah, that'll play.
Yeah, I feel like you just said it all. And like I've said throughout the whole year that like as long as they have something clicking, whether it's the coach like Andy Reid doing his thing as the coach, or it's Patrick Mahomes on fire, or Travis Kelce's on fire, or the defense is on fire, it's like that's the reason why the Chiefs are in this position that they're in now, and that's why the dynasty is still probably going to last. So, give me Andy Reid.
Absolutely. All right, the Super Bowl is Sunday at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. I will give my pick, and I have the dynasty continuing. I have Chiefs 24, Eagles 21, a little bit of a lower scoring game than what some people are thinking. And Patrick Mahomes wins his 4th Super Bowl MVP. My background here, I think the Chiefs defense is excellent. I think they will keep a lid on Saquon Barkley as much as any team can keep a lid on Saquon. Only one player has rushed for 100 yards against the Chiefs this season. Actually, Jack, name the only player to rush for 100 yards against the Chiefs this season.
For 100 yards against the Chiefs?
Yes.
Was it Derrick Henry?
It was not Derrick Henry. He famously only had like 45 yards.
Jeez.
Because he had like 10 carries or something.
I don't remember their full schedule. It wasn't Gus Edwards, was it? It
was not Gus Edwards.
Good. No disrespect to Gus, but like,
yeah, I respect Gus.
I don't know.
Emphasize. I asked player, not running back.
Oh, it was player. So it was Lamar then.
Yes, it was Lamar. Yeah, all the way back in week 1.
Insanity.
The last running back, I believe, was Zamir White. So, for what that's worth, and Saquon's line is like 120 yards. So, I think Saquon ends up like 21 rushes for like 100 yards, 4 to 5 yards a carry. The Chiefs just keep a lid on it, just enough. Maybe they force a turnover here. Maybe Hurts gives them a gift, and I think Patrick Mahomes. For 3 things. 1, Chiefs win. 2, Mahomes MVP. 3, Travis Kelce retires after the game. That's my triumvirate.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did retire after the game.
Fair. If they now, I would be surprised if they lost and he retired. I would be surprised by that.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give my pick.
Okay.
I'm gonna go high scoring game.
Ooh. Okay.
We need a high scoring game.
Exciting.
I am going to go. The dynasty continues. The Chiefs are going to win.
Okay.
I'm going to say 38-35.
Wow. Okay. That is the same score as the last one.
Well, sure. Why not? We'll have a total repeat.
There you go.
Yeah. But I think it's going to end a little bit differently. Instead of ending on a field goal, I think it's going to end with a game-winning touchdown from the MVP DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow.
He's gonna have a game. That's gonna be a hot
Okay.
take. I'm gonna make that a take on U Stadium. Not sponsored.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go spicy with this one. DeAndre Hopkins gonna catch the touchdown and win MVP.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. Here's a prop for you. First touchdown scorer. Jersey number over under 15.5.
Under.
So let me paint out the sides here. The under includes Mahomes, Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster. The over includes Saquon, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and most everyone on both defenses. So that's a fun bet. I really like it. I would actually lean the under, as much as that disrespects Saquon and Travis Kelce. I think both Chiefs receivers that might catch it, and Hollywood Brown's also under. So all three Chiefs receivers that might catch the touchdown are under. Mahomes is under, and Jalen Hurts is under. And I think, and both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. So I think I would go under 15.5 there. But there is our prediction special. We gave our NFL honors. We gave our Lakers and Mavs predictions, and we gave our superb owl predictions. If you agree or disagree, you can let us know on Twitter at the SportsDesk99. You can let me know at Mr. Splashman19. You can let Jack know at Starblade125. Any final words, Jack? I have a cake to go frost.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Super Bowl week is always probably the most exciting week in the league. Granted, like the build up is insane. Obviously we're gonna, I think 10, I don't know when Super Bowl opening night is, or if that's even
I think it's tonight. Week, but I think it's tonight.
I feel like tonight would make the most sense.
Either tonight, I'm pretty sure it's tonight. It could be tomorrow. I was there last year. Justin Reed, by the way, awesome dude.
Yeah, we'll see if any banger quotes come from any of these guys. I know DeAndre Hopkins is very motivated. That's why I made that ridiculous prediction. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I say I'm looking forward to it. This is probably going to be an Eagles hate watch for me, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah,
fair enough.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn. Like, what, as a Ravens fan, would I rather the Chiefs win a fourth one, or would I rather Jalen Hurts have one over Lamar? I don't know. I think sane NFL fans will say that Lamar is better than Jalen, regardless of how the game goes.
Opening night is tonight, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. But it would be cool, not gonna lie, if you have a guy on the GOAT track in Mahomes. And I think this is a critical Super Bowl for Mahomes because, well, obviously every Super Bowl is critical, but it's extra critical because if he doesn't win this one, first of all, he's going to be on 3 still. And second of all, he's going to miss the chance at a three-peat. And that three-peat is something Tom Brady never did. He had 2 in a row, 03-04. He won 2 out of 3 a couple times, 01 and 03 and 14 and 16 and 16 and 18. But he never won 3 in a row. So
there has not been a three-peat in sports since the Lakers in like 01, 02.
Yeah. Lakers and, well, yeah.
I think 2000, 01, and 02 was the last.
And then the Yankees in 98, 99, 2000. So can the Chiefs pull it off? The last team to win 3 straight NFL championships is the Packers. The Super Bowl 1, Super Bowl 2, and the NFL championship before the Super Bowls era started. So I don't know, man. I don't know. So Jack, send us home.
Yep, that's going to do it. Thank you guys very much for watching live episode 106 of the Sports Desk. If you guys liked what you saw, give the video a thumbs up, ring-a-ding-ding the Le'Veon Bell notification bell so you guys get notified whenever we drop anything, whenever we go live, we pre-record, whenever we do whatever it is we may end up doing. We're going to have some fun in the offseason too, I feel like. So got all kinds of stuff in the works. We don't just talk NFL. We talk NBA. We did it at the start of the show.
Like half an hour of NBA today.
Yeah, we did. Probably our record for NBA, honestly.
Yeah, so. We did have. Well, I guess that wasn't the Sports Desk. It was like a live reaction. It was like a Lakers. I think it was Lakers Nuggets. Lakers Suns. That's right. Because I roasted Andre Drummond to start. I remember that.
Maybe we did do that. Anyway, yeah. Also, of course, follow us on X social media / Twitter. At the link, all the ads are below, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, Super Bowl champion Aaron Donald trains with knives. We'll see you guys next time.